Okay. So let's see you in
Yes.
that was speaking. Hello, go ahead, great. Okay, I'll call us to order. Let's see, and guys, I'd like to review the, or take a vote on, have you reviewed the meeting minutes from November 14th? Any questions, concerns, changes?
No, I'd like to move except the red.
Okay, Frank? Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you very much.
They still make flip phones? That's a flip phone.
Okay, harbor master report, anything?
Nothing to add, I mean, it's been a pretty slow month. The last storm, we had a watch break free and but the owner went out and rescued it and tied it to the float. We have had some damage to the wreck float, I'm assuming caused by the two boats tied to it. The chains, we lost a couple of chains, a couple of pins have come apart. Ted's been down there. Well, Public Works has been down to repair it, so that's all good now. I've noticed this year a lot of wear and tear on it. I'm assuming it's caused by the boats that are on it. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. I know one of the last meetings I was at, you asked about, it was kind of ironic, because you asked about the guy that was doing the oyster in Yankee. And we didn't know if he did it or not. Well, he happened to come in the week after, which is the following week. He came in and things started out slow for him because he said he had a structure fire or something.
Yeah, his house burned down.
Yeah, his house burned. So, but he did keep the oyster thing going. And now, I don't know if you've seen the permits, but he's expanded. So he's staying in the same area, just more area.
Is it the fellow that's down around the corner by Man Yankee, not the fellow that we approved that's up in like Public Code? Remember him? That came,
Not
there's
long ago,
only,
it's an
Is it two? No, I think it's one.
there's only the one.
I really don't
Other
know.
than behind Man Yankee.
Just one down there, you.
I thought there was one right in the Sheepshead River, right? Oh, the edge of the, okay, good to know.
So it obviously was a success.
Yeah, success, yeah.
Getting back to the rec dog, is there any problem with, getting back to the rec dog? Is there any problem with taking the revenue from the renting the boat slips out to these two boats and taking that money and repairing the dogs?
Well, I don't think it's an issue. I mean, we got money to repair the dogs.
Okay.
I mean, the chains broke and stuff. And I just think, I mean, Ted's been telling us for years that the lobster boats tying up there is hard on the floats. This is the second year we've had boats tied up there. And this year I've noticed, it just seems like we're doing a lot of repair to it. So it's almost like either the lack of maintenance is catching up to it or the boats really are taking a toll on it. We got another big storm coming tonight, so I'm kind of curious. I mean, when I went down there, that far chain on the right side, looking at it, had broke, and I mean, you couldn't even reach the pylon, what's called dolphin. You couldn't even reach it and pull it back in. So we had to wait for the tide to come the other way to bring it back in, and then the two end chains had broke. So I just noticed no longer there. So it might be something we want to look at before we.
Maybe the spring will pull that dog and.
Yeah, and I think Ted plans on pulling that anyway.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, we may want to reconsider, the boats going on there over the winter. I know we're getting more call for it. We've turned down a couple of people that want to go there.
Do you know if they had any repair last year?
Yeah, we did. The chains had not been addressed for a number of years. So when we went in there last year, they were pretty rough.
Yeah,
And, a couple had to be replaced on the north end.
Yeah, these are on the south end.
I'm just guessing maybe the south end was similar and they haven't been replaced for quite a while and they look good.
And I know some of them chains, I've mentioned to Ted before, the one going down, some of those links look like that paper thin. They wear, yeah. So again, I don't know if it's just normal wear and tear, if it's just increased because of the, I mean, I guess we gotta weigh out the revenue we get for it and how much it costs to repair
Right.
and see. I know that first flow coming down where the ramp hits. I know for the past 2 years, that's been sagging on the left side. And I thought it was gonna come out last spring to get fixed, and it didn't. So I believe Ted plans on taking that out this spring to repair that. And he wants to take, and Dennis actually, when he gets back from vacation, we're gonna look at, the boat ramp. He thinks there's enough money in there now with the carryover to repair that one. And Ted wants to take that float and put it back up to the ferry landing. And, so that'll.
The one at the end of the walkway.
At the end of the public launch?
Yes,
Okay. So there'll be nothing there, or is it?
just be the float, our float one we're gonna put in,
Oh,
so. Yeah, so be interested to see what happens this storm, if anything. I know that one boat that's on there, the guy from Bath, he's gone for a month, and he's real concerned about the power, because he said that if that breaker goes and the pump doesn't work, that boat's gonna sink. So,
So
Oh, boy.
I'm wondering if these are things that, where this is growing more in popularity, that we should address and get on top of saying like, your boat needs to be in good working condition before you tie up to the float, where you don't need to have power to it all the time, will report to say float.
I think you would expect to have power all the time when you tie it.
well, we have two
No,
boats.
we check our power, every day or every 2 days. We could probably check his too.
Well, he's got somebody, Fred Bowers was checking on it for him.
Okay.
But my concern is, well, my concern is CMP is saying, you know, with the storm coming, that they could be, 7 to 9 days before power is restored. So if that goes 7 days without no power down there, I don't know what that.
That's like it is in Uganda.
I can't believe that we'd be without power for that long. But
In town,
in town,
pretty usually,
yeah,
not.
yeah.
does
So,
he just need a generator?
I mean, worst case scenario, yeah, just take a generator down there and plug it in, but.
Well, I mean, I have a generator, if I have power, well, I mean,
Well, Virginia's got an engine, so we could start the engine and charge the batteries. And
is that what?
if there's a prolonged power. So it'd be all right.
Yeah, I don't know what that, I don't know why that boat needs power, if that boat has charging the battery so it can run a pump, or if it's an electric pump, that's, I don't know.
Usually you run a trickle charge on your batteries, so the battery's always up when the pump runs.
Might be worth having a solar trickle charge.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all. I mean, it's been a pretty slow month. Callie and I registered for the next harbor master training in March. Callie's pushed out the more registration, so has anybody registered beside me yet?
Yes.
Yeah, we got money coming in there, so. The online mooring program seems to be working good as far as I'm concerned.
Yep, I added the boat launch to it. The only problem that I have noticed is that nobody is filling their vehicle information out, but at least it's on there now. No, it's not just you, it was like literally everyone that I looked at, and I have to just push it back out. But that's at least on there, and if someone does not have a mooring, there is an independent boat launch permit that is out there for them to use and to pay online and do it that way. So I have not told that to anyone, but we'll get it out there.
There seems to be a lot more interest in commercial people using the hoist and paying that $200 fee. So that's been on the rise.
How do you mean, like more fishermen?
Yeah, well, more fishermen,
In the past, I just thought they just used it and didn't pay.
yeah,
We put a new lock on it and they have to pay in order to get a key.
right.
So that kind of stopped.
Ted Christie, they got something going on over in Aitkin, and, they're constructing something, so he paid the $200 fee for loading and unloading stuff there, so. And I know some of the,
Oyster farmers.
oyster farmers have done it. Good, so.
If it for over a year,
Yeah.
2 years, it'll be wrong.
Yeah, no, we replaced that lock and made a bunch of keys and they have to pay in order to do that, so.
Perfect.
I'll check with Ted when he pulls that float to get his evaluation of what's going on. And, maybe we'll look into some other arrangement, no boat at all.
So big a float, we could have 4 down there this winter.
Yeah.
It's good revenue, I mean, you can't.
I mean, if we had the space, there was money to be made now, for sure. I mean, because I've turned at least 3 people away.
So do we maybe need like floats that are constructed differently so they take the heating a little better? Or that's sort of whatever.
I don't know how you
No,
construct it.
you get the subtleties that are pushing the boats into the float, into the dolphins. If you had a different angle and the boat at a different angle, it would ride better and not fall or drive itself into the floats. So,
With these southerly winds.
remember somebody came up with an idea of 8 slips being put in?
So does that
That would have solved that problem.
as we reconsider the slips, do they need to be at a different angle?
Yeah.
Considering,
Oh, I mean, these, I'm not sure I'd change them just for the boats.
what are the slips for the boats?
Yeah, but if there's summer tie-ups,
Okay, for some,
I mean, I don't know that we
You
should
don't
make an
think so?
exception for
for you, right?
year-round for winter tie-ups. That's
It's
more
been
your
nothing.
call than my call.
Such a thing.
Well, I think we just look at it and get with Ted and get an opinion on, if it's worth, what are we making, $3,000-4,000 for the winter for clothes tied up down there? If we're doing more than that damage to the floats, we probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, it'd be good to get your opinion.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah, check it out.
Thank you, Dick.
And Callie touched on, the boats, derelict boats, whatever, boats that don't run. Right now, we have 2 boats on moorings that don't run. And I don't want to get in a situation where we had that boat, because I've heard a lot of people say it's the harbor master's fault that boat sunk out there because it sat there for years and he never did anything. We have a boat that's on a mooring that's been out there for 2 seasons now that doesn't run. And I've called it numerous times when it starts to, go a certain way, because the pump stopped working or whatever. It's almost like an accident waiting to happen. It's like, I'm gonna go out there someday and that boat's gonna sink but we have nothing in our ordinance to not allow that. So Callie's been working on some ordinances. The last training we went to, they talked about it and came up with a definition for a derelict boat. And if it's a derelict boat, it probably shouldn't be on mooring.
I believe the last harbor master said,
I thought it was harbor master's decision to.
yeah, the state had teeth for the harbor master
Yeah,
to take care of that.
So we went to a 1-day, kind of condensed training.
Okay.
And they talked quite a bit about ordinances and, they showed us a whole bunch of, other towns who have just updated theirs because there's another issue that's coming through. And they said, use these, and that, they have all of the proper terminology. The Harbor Master Association and lawyers have all been involved in these to get them written the way they need to be written. In March, we're going to a longer training, and I'm hoping to get even more information on it. As far as what we can do and what exactly everything means, and to help just give us more Because saying, okay, yeah, the harbor master has that discretion, it's not always enough, I would say.
That's why we wanted self-insurance included in the mooring application. But then the past harbor master said we didn't need to do that, so we dropped that regulation, I understand. Because he said it was taken over, it was taken care of by the state.
Well, I mean,
Sounds like, oh,
it feels like, and I think he would agree, we're not the only ones who are dealing with this stuff, we're not the only harbor that has this. And the more stuff that is in your ordinance, that is specified in your ordinance, the better you are able to say, it's right here, it's in writing, you agree to this when you hooked up to this mooring.
right.
So, and not only will it spell out what a derelict boat is, but what the consequences are. You know, to say, okay, you
So we
have.
don't end up with no ones.
Exactly, exactly.
I mean, we have, I mean, as far as teeth, the harbor master has, we've been dealing with a mooring that's unregistered. And how many, like 3 things I put on his mooring to contact the harbor master references his unregistered mooring, and he just totally ignores us. One of the last storms, in the summer, we towed his boat in because it was full of water, and it was a skiff, but it was a homemade skiff, it was a big skiff, and he is yet to register that mooring. So I don't know that I have the authority to yank his boat and hold it until he registers his mooring or do whatever.
He has the authority to yank the mooring, so.
Right.
And then go through the process in our ordinances that says the 30-day notification and you get 90 days for. Right.
Well, I think this summer, because this will be my 3rd summer as harbor master, and we have moorings out there that I've tagged for the past 2 years that haven't been registered. So this coming summer, I think we're gonna be looking to pull those.
Absolutely.
I mean, I definitely think getting the online mooring under control has made it easier to say, this definitely has not been registered, this definitely hasn't been used.
That's been a great.
And to be able to say that, I think the last, like the first summer that you were doing, the first summer I was doing it, it was hard to say that, yes, this is being used, or yes, or no, this isn't being used, and, you know, but now I feel like we're in a good place as far as them being registered to make those moves. I mean, the last thing either one of us wants to do is pull someone's mooring and have them come after us because we pulled their mooring and say, well, nowhere does it say that you can do this.
It's just like the fees. I mean, we talk about fees for how many months, no one ever come to any of the meetings, and then you put the fees in and all of a sudden there's another one.
Right.
But, the other issue coming, I mentioned it, I think a couple of years ago, and they touched on it in this last training, was the houseboats. And we don't have anything in our ordinance. I mean, I turned 2 people away because we didn't have space down there, but I had 2 calls for people wanting to dock a boat down there and live in it over the winter. So that's gonna be an issue soon, and we probably ought to get an ordinance figured out on whether or not we're gonna allow that or not, because a lot of the stuff that's coming up, people are building like houseboats on barges, and then they become derelict and wash up on shore, and then it's somebody else's problem, and they walk away from it. And that's happening all over the state.
There are several harbors that are dealing with it, and lakes too. And it's not a houseboat like a boat that you live on. It's more like they're making a float, putting a building on it. There's nothing boat about it, and living on it or renting it out as an Airbnb, and then there's just problems and issues there because they're not paying property taxes, they're not, you know, and they're making money off of it, and that's not regulated, so we just have to get it in an ordinance. And they gave us some more concern about right, I mean, there was a lot to it, and they gave us some very specific language that, again, the Harbor Master Association and attorneys worked on to get in there to be able to make it something that we can regulate and prevent from happening. And they were pushing very hard that we get ahead of it and not let it.
Deal with the source problem.
Right.
I mean, that was in March.
Yeah.
The budget is on.
Trying.
Okay.
Yeah. So, long-term mooring rental, that came up a little bit, somebody wanted to stay on mooring all winter.
Well,
Is that the
well,
same?
he's pretty much on mooring, all right? He's on a mooring without permission. This is the second month. I don't know if you remember when the boat broke. He anchored on the Edgecombe side, and then we had that storm, and he ended up going drift and ended up in Wiscasset.
George?
What? No, it's Ben Day. But, he ended up in Wiscasset, he drifted into Wiscasset because the mushroom anchor he was on didn't hold the boat. So we ended up putting on our mooring, our town mooring, without permission, and he's been there ever since. I've talked to him a few times about it. You know, he asked about being on there for the winter. The boat doesn't run. He tows it to some island in the summer, Squirrel Island. And he works on Squirrel Island in the summertime, and he lives on the boat. So basically the boat just ended up on our mooring. And he owes
Squirrel
us,
Island now?
what's that?
Can you talk to Squirrel Island now?
No, I don't know what the deal is, but we came up, him and I talked about it, and I know I have discretion, Kelly and I talked about it. And I told him, you know, he could probably stay on the mooring for $750, you know, we figured out how much it would be a month, and total $750, which is cheap mooring rental. But he hasn't paid anything. I think he wants to stay there till March. I think he wanted to stay there till March.
So $750 a month.
So I think it was $150 a month for 5 months, is what we kind of talked about. And I know that was cheap mooring rental, but we're gonna get nothing if we don't do something. And, but yeah, he hasn't paid anything. He hasn't paid anything. So I invited him to one of the meetings, and that meeting got canceled, and I thought he'd be at this meeting, but. So I don't really know what to do with him. I don't want to tow another boat. I mean, the last boat, we all know what happened with the last boat. I mean, it cost us, what, $700 to remove it and store it, and then it ended up, you know, going out for bid, and no one bid on it. We ended up giving it away. I don't really want to tow another boat out of the harbor.
Well, it's not like water or anything.
No, it's staying afloat, so.
It must not be leaking,
No,
but it doesn't run.
doesn't want he tows it just wherever he wants to go.
Well, then,
So maybe you could come to our next meeting if it's. Or, what do you think?
I don't know.
So when we last spoke with him, he was trying to pay $150 a month or something, and everyone else who has done their long-term rentals has paid up front. I feel like that's something that we should continue doing. And that was when he invited him to come to the meeting to have that discussion with the committee as far as he wanted to make his case about it, but, you know. Here we go.
So try again, I guess.
I mean, I could try to get the $750 out of it, but, I mean, we should get something out of them, but then again, we're going against our own thing. If we don't want to allow derelict boats on it, then we allow them to be on our mooring.
Well, it's really derelict. It's dangerous sinking. Is it a sailboat?
I guess you're here with the definition of derelict is.
It's not an operational vessel. Most guys share an operational vessel. It's not that. You're done.
We need to find out the definition of derelict.
Well, I think we need to come up with our own definition of derelict for our harbor. and I think that's what Cal is working on.
I am, and something else I would like to do, and obviously that's up to you guys as to whether that's not something that you would like me to pursue, is with these long-term rentals, in the same way that we're doing for everything else, have an application that says, you know, who an emergency contact is, the information about the boat, but also include in there, you know, yes, I agree to all of the ordinance rules, I don't know what you call them. You know, I agree to abide by the ordinance, and, you know, I agree to pay everything up front, and these are the dates that we're gonna be here, this is when we're gonna leave, that kind of thing, so that if there is, you know, so far we have been, it has been working because we know who's down there, and we've been able, we know who to contact, we know who to reach out to, but in order to kind of, especially if the moorings are gonna start getting rented out, you know, to just have that information and have them have signed some kind of an agreement. Just like they have for the mooring permit application, just like they do for the boat launch application.
Do you think long-term rentals would fit in with our online mooring permit? Do you think that would work together?
I don't,
It's not a mooring,
this
it's a-
is the issue that we've talked about, is that the issue with the float is that it isn't like, this is slot one, this is slot two. So like, there's no defined space on the boat. So we can't say, like, when you have a mooring, you have a mooring number and that's your mooring. You know, because you could, in 1 year, you could have no road, there's 2 boats, but in another year, you have room for 4 boats. It depends on the size of the boat. So that's the issue with, if there were slips, we could, because those are each individual, but where the float isn't really a defined space, they can't make that work.
But the town moorings are defined space.
Yes, there's 3 of them and they're labeled 1, 2, 3.
Right, I understand that, but the long-term rental, would that fit in?
They probably can, yes, they are online right now already to
So the
do.
mooring, the long-term mooring rental?
Yes, yeah.
So we're assuming that,
Right.
am I assuming with this long-term rental, the moment we accept monetary rental monies, we are liable if our moorings fail, and give this, the boat.
Well, I think that is the something that's in the
Right,
agreement.
right.
So like insurance, once again, right? Right, insurance?
We also have insurance on our moorings.
Yeah.
Well, we had 3 moorings out there that were designed for
Right, big boats.
small boats.
Oh,
And we had one mooring beefed up to hold the bigger boats.
okay, I understood they were,
No, I was told
They were rugged
not to
stones.
put anything over 30 feet on them. And
okay,
that was from Ted. So last year at the harbor master training, I talked to him about it. And we moved all the moorings, all the town moorings in a row, so they're all in front of the rec roll in 1, 2, and 3. And number 1, he beefed up to hold the big boats. But before that, people were just hooking on their boats to any mooring, and if we're lucky they held.
absolutely. We want to make sure that when we accept monies that we've got our butts covered, because
Right.
the minute we take money, we're liable.
But I think as we redo the moorings, as we redo them, we'll probably redo them all so that they hold big boats, so I mean.
And so the whole 50-foot boat they have to was, or whatever.
But when we talk about long-term rental, I'm not interested in renting out the moorings during the summer.
During the summer, right,
I mean,
but the perfect opportunity to get some monies in
in
the
the
winter,
winter time, they're just sitting there. Why
you know, right?
Right.
Exactly. I think it's a good idea.
Well, you gotta figure out what, I mean, $50 a month, not enough.
They said it.
Who said it? Yeah, but 150 is less than what they said, I believe.
And I don't know when
Because
they
you
said
rounded
if
it
they
when
had
I said
tried
that.
to. And I don't know if when they said that, they were thinking summer or off season.
When we set our fees?
I'd rather.
I believe it was
150 and have it rented, and 300 not have it rented. That's what I was thinking.
I'm with you.
Okay, so let's, talk about it next.
Yeah,
the next time.
Just things that we're working on, just things that you'll see coming and.
And in the meantime, I'll try to get some money out of it.
We'll keep plugging along.
Yeah.
Thanks, Larry. Okay, thanks, you guys. Okay, moving on, number 4, memorial bench at the waterfront. Discussion. Peter, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
So just so you know, we're a little, not to cut you guys short, but there's another meeting coming in here for 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So I think we're going to cut off after, depending on how long you take, which I'm gonna give as much time as you need.
I'll be fast.
Okay, I just want to tell the committee that I've rescheduled another meeting in 2 weeks to finish what's on here, okay?
Well, thanks for having us. Once again, I'll be quick. My name is Peter Wells. I'm a former resident of Wiscasset, a registered landscape architect and professional site planner. We formed a committee called the EG Bench Committee. And it's to consider putting a memorial bench somewhere in Wiscasset. With me today is Cynthia Pappas and Bob Bond. Ernie was a good friend and neighbor of mine. And we'd like to create a memorial bench and locate it somewhere within the town. The waterfront was one of the areas that we are considering, but there are no parameters as far as where it can go, what material it should be, etc. So we're here tonight just informally to talk about it, to start the process. We haven't done any site planning, we haven't selected the bench yet, material, size, or anything. We plan on raising funds for this, so it won't cost the town anything. It will be a bench that will be able to withstand weather and be out there year round, whereas some benches have to be brought in and it's a maintenance issue for a town. I brought some graphics here just showing the waterfront area in case you want to point to anything, and some pictures showing various areas that we have in the downtown area. So my questions to you guys are, what can we do? What is the process? I'm assuming the process, I've done this for many years, but typically a process like this would be talk to you guys first, because you need to support this before we go to select board that has to agree to this, and DPW, and listen to your parameters first, then come back to you with a site plan showing where the bench might be and what it may look like, what materials there would be, would it be an accessible surface to gain access to the bench itself. Those type of questions that I can deal with from a site planning standpoint. So it's basically just to open up a discussion, preliminary discussion before we move forward. So that's basically it. And wanted to hear from you guys.
Do you have a time frame that you're looking to get this in?
Once we come up with a design, then I'll do a cost estimate to see how much funds we have to raise. We're getting good feedback regarding funding, and I think we can raise funds rather quickly. So we're hoping this summer. This summer, possibly early fall. We wouldn't ask the DPW or the town for any funds regarding installation. If we do have accessible pavement to this bench, the committee would handle that. If the town wants to consider helping out with things like insulation, since they're getting a free bench, for anyone to use, that would be great. But I understand, people are strapped and we're hoping to raise enough ourselves to, install the whole thing. And once again, we have no idea what this bench is gonna look like, what size. Is it gonna be natural stone, wood, a combination of both, metal? I envision, and we haven't really talked about what the plaque is gonna look like, but I envision a modest plaque, and it's not gonna be grandiose. Bob Bond was Ern's partner for 44 years.
I think as far as the waterfront goes down there, the lower left picture would be the ideal place.
Yeah,
But I think there's some erosion down there, so that may want to be addressed first.
Yeah.
yeah, that's this area where the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. But I think, I mean, I would want it maybe granite or something heavy, somebody can't just walk off with it.
Yeah.
But I think it will last longer as well.
Oh, yeah, and my office has designed over 40,000 benches, so it's gonna be durable. And it's gonna be, connected to the ground, and it will be, but we have, as a committee, we really haven't decided the look of it yet.
Have you decided on, I know you mentioned earlier that you haven't decided on the size. You must have some concept.
Well,
I mean, it's not gonna be 40 feet long, it's gonna be.
no,
It's gonna be reasonable size,
it will, and typically,
6 or 8 feet.
I like to present at least an 8-foot size so that you can get 2 people sitting on one end and another person not associated with that on the other end. So you get 3 people, and that's a good standard to go by. I don't like the 3-foot wide benches that can only hold 1 person. So I would recommend to my committee at least an 8-foot wide bench.
Yeah, I always, one bench is nice, but maybe just a little semicircle with 3 benches. And then we can sell plaques to put on the other 2
For other people.
that the town thinks.
That's an idea. That's a little bit.
I don't know, but, you know,
Sponsorship. We're brainstorming as you can
I
see.
was
So
gonna suggest a double-sided bench, made of granite.
there you go, yeah.
there's a whole.
So you've got seats on both sides, nice wide piece of granite, but between it, plaque mounted to it, so it's
Yeah.
all right there.
Nothing big, just a
It can
little.
also be a fundraising opportunity for the town. You know, many other cities and towns do fundraising for benches to have benches installed, and people pay for that.
Like Central Park has almost every bench has a
Right,
bench
bench.
on it.
The type of thing. So the town gets a free bench with just a plaque on it. I volunteer at the Botanical Gardens, and we have many stone benches that are all bought by people, and there's a small little plaque on it, and they're done really well. Yeah, Aaron.
You know, that location that you were talking about has all that grass there. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you could put brick pavers and you could sell the bricks, you know.
Bob
with
Iyer,
their names
that
on 'em.
thing.
Yeah.
When we were going through Schooner Fest ideas for this area here, we have memorabilia down there from the 2 old schooners there, and those have to be designed so that they look like they fit. Right now, they're just placed there. So that whole area could use some really nice design work to make it look like it belongs. But we could always use benches down there for sure. Along with interpretive elements from Luther Little.
Peter, I didn't hear who you dedicating this bench to again?
Ernie Gallerani, I'm a partner for 44 years.
Ernie was Bob's partner.
Hi, Bob.
4 years. Oh, hi, nice to meet you, Bob. It's on Facebook now. Yeah, sorry to hear about your phone.
So that's our first presentation with regard to just getting feedback from you. And are there any parameters that you see that we cannot do in terms of a bench or location?
So the only thing I was thinking on when you shed down by where the erosion is we've got some problems with the seawall right now. So we're gonna have some construction done. So we want to make sure that it's not in the way of the construction, so it's not dangerous by the construction. But it's also, like, if we can put a seawall or some sort of structure, riprap, to hold into there, and then construct it back away from where we're gonna be working on that wall.
Yeah.
That would just make perfect sense.
I think citing it a little bit back here so that there's some space between the bench and that space to be grass, but enough access for
Say, like Aaron said,
circulation.
you know, the
Yeah,
pavers up front of the bench.
yeah, that's a good idea. But yes, the erosion along here with changing climates is a concern, and we want to stay away from that and make sure we have enough space so that construction can occur.
And we also want to consider sea level rise also, you know, we
I know.
want to,
We have,
go that up,
We have,
you know, 2 feet now, make a up ramp to it or something before sea level, you know, so we don't have to reconstruct it. Move it up.
and the back area here is about 12 inches higher than low down here.
Right, right.
If we go up too much, we still have to provide, eventually you're gonna want access to whatever happens down
Right,
there.
we're gonna have handicap access to it,
Accessible.
right, absolutely.
I understand that. So,
But it's just a subtle, small area for contemplation. They can look at the water, the bridge, and
Right.
nothing ostentatious, just a bench on a little.
no, something simple, and we'll come back with ideas as far as bench style and siting it and pavement and all that. So
Metal won't work for the salt water, so we know it's gonna be
Yeah.
in wood,
we
doesn't
understand.
work.
Yeah.
Speak of, but
All those things, we'll be
Yeah,
back
great.
and we'll work with you guys on a give and take process. And then, once we come up with a final plan that you guys feel comfortable with, then the next step would be the select board.
It really needs to go on land. No, it can't go on one of those docks.
No.
It couldn't go on the dock,
Oh, it could,
but you couldn't see anything because of the railings,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, the railing design on those docks, yeah, does prohibit view shed, and that's why we selected this area.
That's for eating ice cream.
I've seen all of them, there isn't many places other than that.
Well, there's, you know, if you move further down, you know, White's Island.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, sure.
But you gotta be able to get up there.
I know,
Yeah, I know.
I know that story.
Yeah. There is one of those, like, down where we are on the other pier. There's some trees, like, right up on the water in that parking lot.
Yeah,
Oh, right, next to the tracks.
Yeah, it's hard to see it right there. It's three, no, it's three.
Closer to the bridge, right?
Now come this way, come this, right there, whoa, right there, no, right there.
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, this area here,
Oh, yes.
As far this way as you can be.
yeah. We actually, I looked at that area briefly, and my only concern with that was, it's not a very quiet or contemplative place.
No.
As you know,
No,
that's why I'm right here looking back at.
well, that's ideal,
Yeah,
obviously.
But that's state property too, I think. So I think,
Oh, this is probably state, right?
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Well, further out might not be state because of the right of way, but it could be. So, yeah, there aren't a lot of areas. You're correct. So, Anyway,
I do have one, just a little snafu, but, and I don't know if Dennis might be able to answer it, but I know when I was in Wayne, there was a little bit of controversy. We had some people very generously donate benches, in a similar manner. But we had also a group of people that were concerned about the sort of the surge of donation of benches. And, so I just wasn't sure if there's a policy of naming of benches or naming of property in town.
That's generally lies with the select board. We have done it. We have a bench down there that's dedicated to James Rowland Johnson.
Isn't it up on the common?
Yeah, the common.
why was that removed?
Just, have to be back to do some work on it. Yeah.
I just wondered. But no, there haven't been many benches, and to our knowledge, there's not really a policy, it's all select board. Good, and
Sure.
Yeah, they don't have to always be down there. Not be.
No, anywhere in
Around
town,
town.
yeah, anywhere in
Yeah.
town property. I just was making sure that there, what the process is, that's all.
what we'll do as a committee is we'll talk about this, we'll come back to you with some, possibly some options, if not a proposal on what we present. And we'll listen to you as far as materials, select locations, paving materials, everything. So we'll work with you guys as part of the process. Well, thank you for listening to us, and
Sure, look forward to what's next. Do you want to come back in a month or?
I'm not sure yet.
Any, you know?
I'll get back to you on that and we'll let you know. It might be a little bit further than a month because we have a lot of decisions to make as far as the bench itself, the size, materials, everything.
I think it'd be neat to sort of, I don't know, set a bench policy for at least the
It would.
village.
It would be,
Kind of neat.
and
And the idea of fundraising,
in doing so,
Would be
you
kind
can,
of, you know.
create a lot of opportunities for new benches throughout town in areas that don't have them. So.
Can I assume that that is the location that you're gonna go to?
Ernie liked to sit down there while he was having his ice cream.
I agree, that's a
And
good
look out
location.
the water.
It is our number one location for now.
It's a nice view.
That's good to know.
good start. Great.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for all your work and
Sure.
dedication. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay.
We got all the copies of the report, right, that we're gonna talk about next time. Before, copy of that presentation. So we'll meet again in 2 weeks. 21st at 5 o'clock. Thanks for coming. Maybe a motion to adjourn. August.
Good.
What thing on these camera stores would accept? So their ordinance and our ordinance is the same.
So what, trying to get clarification.
And it's just, you know, it's big, right? And he said, like, I'm gonna go out and the dog.
Or the same note, what did you say, Earl? You're kind of kicking out.
No meeting tonight.
Yeah.
Also, would you?
I was thinking about that.
Okay, so
Isn't this January?
January 23rd, I think is what you said. So,
Are you talking about August?
yeah.
Okay, well, I think there's
I
another
don't
meeting.
know who's in charge of, but
I know we're also back.
white.
So maybe she was talking about the other meeting.
Number, yeah.
It's not. So I want to call.
He wants to put in it.
And also, phase document.
So she has one box here. See, what's happening.
Yeah.